Of course, that's going to be different than like a man not wanting to date a woman over 30. Like honestly, like it makes sense why men wouldn't want to date a woman that was over 30, just because, you know, like there's a little bit of resentment that comes along the way when you are in and out of bad relationships. Or I mean, they don't even have to be bad; they're just failed relationships. I think that there's a little bit of that goes on, but I don't know where you want to take the conversation, because 3 things happened all at the same time.
Yeah, well, since we're kind of primarily talking about age gap, I want to give everyone else an opportunity to weigh in too. Your thoughts on age gap relationships. Let's talk about, maybe Leo could be a good sort of jumping off point.
Age gap. I'm typically attracted to guys a little bit older.
You're 25, correct?
I'm 25.
Okay. And
I've dated a 55-year-old.
Oh.
I've dated a 75-year-old.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you love any of them?
Oh, sorry, it's been on me the whole time. Sorry, guys. Eric went to the bathroom.
Did
No.
you
I'm
love
sorry,
any of
guys.
them?
I scuffed it.
No.
So you just dated them?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to weigh in on the...
I don't think there's anything wrong with older men being attracted to younger women.
Oh.
I mean, from a biology standpoint, it makes sense. I mean, obviously, not all women lose it fertility-wise when they get older, but statistically, it is the older you get, the less eggs
Progressively.
you have. Yeah. Not to say, I mean, my personal preference, I prefer older men. Just from a maturity standpoint.
You're 21, right?
I'm 21, yeah.
Can you give us kind of an age range of what you prefer?
I usually date like mid to late 30s.
Yeah, this is kind of the other thing, Kiko, is why do older men prefer younger women? Well, we also need to ask, why do women prefer older men? Mm-hmm. That's another side of this coin. Mm-hmm. And I think it happens to be the case that men just like younger women and women like older men.
No, it's because men mature like dirt. They mature slow as hell. So usually we have to reach up. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying... Mm-hmm.
What you saying?
No, I'm just saying this is like this got brought up on the first podcast I got brought up.
This is like
my 5th time on here.
We got some new viewers.
Okay, and it's like I just think it's so naive to say. I'm not saying in every instance, in every case that an older man dating a younger woman, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. The detail that you guys keep losing out, from my opinion, is I'm saying men or women who are over the age of 40 who again and again seek out women or men who are the ages of 18 or 19 are weird, are doing it from probably power dynamic standpoints, is my point that I'm saying. If it's a man who's 43, he's dated a couple of 18-year-olds, so be it, they crossed his path. But a 43-year-old man who's only dated 18 and 19-year-olds, 50-plus men who's only dated 18 and 19-year-olds, how is he meeting these 18 and 19-year-olds? You just don't cross paths all the time. That means he is seeking, or she is seeking out that man or woman of that age. And I think it is for a reason beyond just, oh, they're hot.
Well, I think it really just does come down to that they're hot, because like we talked about it, right? Like, you know, what's really the difference between a high schooler and an 18 or 19-year-old psychologically? Not much. You know, so basically, like, she's a sex object to that man. But I mean, I think that we're just very quick to demonize that. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, if it was the inverse, and I know that you're saying that it's different when it's with an older woman with a younger man, but there's like some sort of implication usually that these folks are groomed. Like, sometimes young women just like the silverback eggplant. You know what I mean? Like, they're just into that. Yeah, and I think that we don't want to admit that, but you know, like, I've had girlfriends, you know, in college that were seeing older men and just didn't tell their parents and sleeping with them too. Mm-hmm. You're just attractive. I mean,
I don't think she's saying that that's the rule. I think she just wants you guys to acknowledge that it's a possibility, which obviously it is.
Sure.
But that's not the question.
Sure, because that's the times I was on here beforehand. Mm-hmm. Every single time, it's no, they're just attracted to each other.
But
they're just attracted to each other.
There are some men and hold on. Oh. There are some men and some women who are necrophiliacs.
Ew.
What? You're saying the wrong word. That's people who with people who are dead.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He's talking about.
I'm
like,
saying
these
there
smaller
are.
men.
They exist. They exist.
M. Martin super chatted $100. Mm-hmm. The only social construct is same-age marriages.
Oh.
School and work group common ages together. Oh. It does not correlate with biology. Men can procreate into 80s. women, around 40. The qualities that women look for in men aren't even achieved until well into their 30s.
So
I disagree.
So like
Why do you disagree?
The person I'm with right now, 23, gonna be 24 soon. I couldn't ask any more of them. Do I say that they're like at their peak prime? No, but for a 23, almost 24-year-old man, he is. And he doesn't have to be 30 to be what I want. He's honestly everything I want, and I'm happy to be with him and by his side at the age of 23.
Yeah, I would say like that's very normal. That's pretty standard. Like I said, like it's like 4 to 7 years, but obviously like we tend to find our own age groups more attractive. So I think you have a problem with people objectifying each other, is what it sounds like, because women make men out to be success objects. So like obviously these young girls that are looking up to these older guys, like they're probably not attracted to him for who he is.
And I would say that's wrong too.
And you would say that that's wrong.
But it's not getting brought up here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd be happy to talk about that all day long. You know what I mean? But it's just like, I understand what you're saying. I don't think that you're making any, spicy or contentious points. The only thing I would say is like, it doesn't have to necessarily be predatory, because it's equally predatory for these young women to be pursuing these older men if it's not for who they are.
I would agree.
Alright.
There's women
Okay.
definitely
We
out
did
there.
it.
Oh, a little
Look.
common ground
More
there.
podcasts later.
There you go.
No, I definitely see what you're saying. I
Yeah.
feel like you see what I'm saying.
Yeah,
too.
we're on the same page.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Okay.
Honestly, I'd be suspicious if my daughter wanted to be with a very, very older man. But that's what my husband is for, to stare this man in his eye and be like, "What do you want?"
What exactly? We would it not raise questions to you
Yeah.
if there's a way older man who wants something to do with your young girl? You're like, I know this little girl,
Yeah.
and I know my husband, who is probably, I mean, not for your case, but like my husband would have been only 43,
my
10 years
husband would
prior,
still-
and
yeah.
I'm like, what does this 43-year-old have in common with my little
Cam
18-year-old
from
baby?
TMR
Yeah.
Radio
That's the
Super
standpoint I
Chat
come from.
$100. Kiko Blaza, stop doing that. What you are talking about in your man is rare. Most, meaning the vast majority of men, are not put together at 23. This isn't conjecture but fact. You admitted this earlier, saying men mature slower.
All right, TMR Radio, thank you there for the $100 super chat. I want to give everyone else an opportunity to come in on this. I think you went a little bit. Do you have any? I don't know if you got to go on your thoughts on kind of age gap or relationships.
I don't have much to say about age gap relationships. I think that power dynamics can be toxic if you have a large age gap, which is not to say they always are.
Okay.
It's not a comment on anybody's personal relationship. I personally tend to date people within 10 years of my own age because I like to meet people based on common interests, which tend to be people closer to my age.
Hold on, the screen's going to get all scuffed here, but we're still going. So what about you? Your thoughts on age gap relationships?
Personally, I like guys like around my own age, but I don't think age gap is like a problem
Sure.
at all.
You said you're 18. What's the oldest guy that you've dated or hooked up with?
21.
21. Okay, so college guys. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, age gap is fine, but for me, I'm 18. I can't see myself dating someone 23, even 22. I think I'm just not at that stage of my life yet, and then that person would be, and I would feel out of touch and just not there yet.
So you wouldn't date a senior at UCSB, assuming like you were single?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't even, like, they're probably getting ready to step in their career, and I barely have like a minimum wage job. I just don't feel like we can really connect.
Okay, you mentioned career. I'll come back to that. What about you?
I don't really think age matters. Mostly I think it, like, when you're trying to find someone who you want to be in a relationship with and who you want to, like, you see yourself spending most of your, like, life with and your time with, it, like, matters more on, like, compatibility and, like, where you guys are at in, like, your life in that moment. But, like, personally, I wouldn't see myself dating, like, I'm 18, I wouldn't see myself dating a 40-year-old. That's just not where I think it's a little, like, weird, but, like, that's, like, from me, like, from my perspective, I wouldn't, but I am not judging anybody else who would be in, like, a big age gap, like, relationship.
Yeah. I would say, like, when it comes to age gaps with women, I think young women are less willing to entertain relationships with older men, but they might, like, hook up with one. I think that that's a big distinction.
They wouldn't want to have a relationship with an older guy, but they would hook up with him.
I think so. Like, I've just talked to enough women, and I went to undergrad myself, and it's like, you know, like they might hook up with one, but it doesn't mean that they would be interested in dating one, because I think these are very, very two different things.
Wait, Kiko, really, one question on this. What's the oldest guy that you've dated?
Probably like 27, maybe 30 actually. Now 31.
30.
Before, I will
Or
say.
hooked up with?
Yeah, 30,
Okay.
probably 31 at this point.
And
like
how old were
once
you when?
I put on the math. I've never hooked up with somebody over a 10 age.
The math?
It's probably like 8, 'cause I added their age. They would be 31 now, I'm saying. But before this guy that I've been dating, I honestly didn't picture myself really